Let's program print intro 5 from your packet together. First, from the input screen, I want to create a new program. Program Manager, New, Conversational Program. I then want to go set up some stock geometry from the input screen. I'll go to Part Setup, More, Stock Geometry. Answer yes, I want to set up some manual sizing for my stock. And I'll simply take the information from the print, 5.4 for the X, also 5.4 for the Y, and then 0.89 in the Z-axis. Let's go set up some tools for this particular part. Tool Review, Tool Setup. We'll go to Tool 6. We'll make that a 3/4 center cutting end mill. So pull down end mill, 0.75. I'll skip the tool cal length, put a coolant condition, some speeds and feeds information for the tool, and then we have a 1/2 inch center cutting end mill, which will make tool 7. It's also an end mill. It's a 1/2 inch. I want to do coolant and some information for speeds and feeds there as well. Now we're ready to write the program. So we go back to the input screen. We select Part Programming. All the features we'll be doing on this part are milling. So we begin to select them in the order that we would like to machine them. I want to start with that mill frame. There's a little bit of a boss standing up in the middle of the part. So I'm going to select milling and then frame. Start to enter the information as it's asked for. The bottom left corner of that frame is the easiest to determine, so I'm going to put 0.48 for the X, 0.48 for the Y. The length in X, or the X length of this particular frame, is 4.17, and the Y length is 4.36. Go to 0.1 above for my Z start. The final depth of that feature is -0.2, and we do have corner radiuses on this feature of 0.15. I'm going to select my tool from the list. Tool 6 was my 3/4 inch end mill. The milling type, this is an outside frame. I'm going to select outside. Give it a peck depth and a feed rate. Let's go to Draw Options. Let's see if that frame looks right, and it does. Now, I see that I do have an issue that I need to take care of, and that is to clean up these corners on the frame. This is one of the reasons I like to draw after I complete each individual feature on the part. So I'm going to go back to my review screen. I'm going to highlight block 1, or my mill frame, and I'm simply going to copy that by selecting multiple block functions, copy, and then paste. That will paste an exact copy of my mill frame block before it in the program. Now I need to create something that's a little bit larger. I'm going to start at 0, 0, and I'm going to make it 5 inches by 5 inches, just to see if that will clean up. And in fact it did. So that's all I need to do from that point. Go back to the review screen, highlight the mill frame or my last block in the program and hit enter. And now I can continue programming from there. Going to go to next block, and let's do the ellipse in the upper left hand corner. We'll do milling, we'll select ellipse, and we'll fill out the information from the print. Now, the center of that ellipse is actually not given. I have to add a couple of dimensions together. 0.88 is to the edge or the far left side of the ellipse, and then another 0.82 to the center. So I'm going to add those two numbers together. 0.88 plus 0.82 gives me my center of the ellipse. The same thing is going to be necessary for the y. I have a value of 3.37 to the bottom side, and then I'm going to add to that the 0.47, which is half the height of the feature, plus 0.47, and that'll give me a 3.84 center location. Now it's asking for the x radius and y radius, which again is half the length and half the height. So half of the x-axis length of this frame is 0.82, and half of the height is 0.47. Start 100 thousandths above, and that feature is minus 0.2 deep, minus 0.2. Let's go ahead and use the half-inch end mill for this. So we'll select the tool from the list, we'll highlight the half-inch, and we'll select that tool. This is going to be a pocket. Spiraling outward is fine. Our step over of 50% of the tool is fine. I'm going to do peck depth of 0.1, and I'll plunge at 20 inches a minute. Let's go to the draw button, select the draw, and let's see if our ellipse looks correct, and it does. So now I can go back to the program, next block, and continue programming. Let's do the two mill circles now. We'll do a milling circle. The center is 2 in x, 1.84 in y, and the radius of the small circle is going to be 1.2 diameter through, so 0.6 radius. We'll start at 100 above, and we're going all the way through the part to, let's go 0.9, a little bit past the 0.89 depth that we need. We can use tool 6 for this, which is our 3/4 inch end mill, and I want to pocket this out. I'm going to do this in pecks of 0.1 and feed rates, plunge feed rates of 20. Now I'm going to go directly to my next block, also a milling circle, and I want to do the counterbore that's associated with that. The x center is the same, 2 and 1.84. The radius of the counterbore is 1 inch. It said it's a 2-inch diameter counterbore. So I'm going to do 1 inch radius, 0.1, and I'm only going down minus 0.4 on this particular counterbore. We'll still use the same tool, the 3/4 inch end mill. Also going to be a pocket. Actually, no. Let's make that just an inside. We've already removed the majority of the center of this when we did the pocket. So all we simply have to do is machine a circle, and we should be able to clean everything up. Speeds and feeds came in with the tool. We'll put a peck depth and a feed rate. Now let's hit the draw button. Draw options and draw, and let's see if those look correct. There we go. Now we have another set of features on the part. That only leaves us with the mill through frame in the upper right corner. So let's go back to the program. Let's go to the next block. We're going to select milling, mill frame, and let's enter in the information as it's given to us. The x-axis corner of the mill through frame is going to be a 2.93. That's a value given to us way up in the top left corner of the print. And I want to go to the bottom edge in y. That's also given to me there. So in essence, I'm describing the bottom left corner of the frame. That value is 2.95. That makes the x length 1.3 of that frame, and the y length 1.65 of the frame. I'll start at 0.1. I'm going down to 0.9. Also, it's all the way through. I want to go a little further than the 0.89 thickness of the part. This has corner radiuses of a 1/2 inch. Put 0.5. I'm going to do this with the 3/4 inch end mill also. Make this a pocket. We'll peck it. and give it a plunge feed. And if we draw that, we see that we now have a completed part.